Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. Last video of today, we'll say. I already did the Fairy Tail review, I did the Bleach review, did all my reviews I needed to do, except for, let's see, what's next. Oh yeah, the, whatchamacallit, Guilty Crown, and Fairy Tail chapter review. Another. Episode 5. Building Limps. That's the name of the episode they was. This show has become really ridiculous. I mean, like, to the point where you gotta think to yourself, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's ridiculous. Okay, let's get into it. Koichi obviously found out about the death of the nurse that he was talking to. And he goes to the crime scene and he's shocked, obviously. He just can't believe what has happened. And he's getting evil looks from the students and so on and so forth. Nothing too horrendous. That's when he decides to I forgot what he decides to do. Well, anyway, basically what happens is he decides to, well, at first, they find out about the death and it's sad and so on and so forth, and he's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And eventually what happens is, doesn't really get questioned too much by students. What happens is, he goes to the library and he's looking at his mother, he's finding his mother, and in the yearbook, 1972, and she was part of the class. And the librarian's there, and he's, thinking about it, and he's like, oh, 15 years ago, she died. That's what, he's remembering that. What happens is, he leaves the library, and an Akiyozawa girl, the one's in part of the countermeasures, school of countermeasures, police are here to investigate him. And so they're asking him questions about everything. Before he leaves, he says, "This is for the good of the class. Please forgive us." That's what she says to him before he leaves to get interviewed by the police. This is for the good of the class. Not those weren't exact words, but more or less that's what she said. This is for the good of the class. Please forgive us. So he gets interviewed with the cops and everything, and they're asking him questions, and they notice, oh, her cell phone was there, and you called, and I says, yeah. He says, yes, I called her, I talked to her, and so on and so forth. It didn't really add it up to anything, because they can't really anything on those lines. So after his interviewing with the cops, he noticed nobody's there. Classroom's empty. They're not there. Then he sees the professor, the teacher, and he says to him, please mind to follow the class rules. Everybody in this show looks like they're dead. They're dead. So after that scene with the teacher, he leaves and he goes and he meets up with these two guys. I don't know their names, every name of these students in his class, but one of them is the one who was drawing next to him in the art room, in the sketching, and the other one is has heart problems. So he's walking with both of them to home, and he's trying to get some of what the story is behind this curse and everything, and they won't tell him. The kid with the heart problems decides to tell him, and they're walking, and he's standing there, and he says, Masaki May. All of a sudden, he says Masaki May. He asks this question: is May's Masaki real? May Masaki. He says May Masaki, and all of a sudden, he has a heart attack. And he's convulsing, and Koichi's like, Koichi's face. Sorry if I said that wrong. Koichi, his face is like pure horror of what's happening. So, next day, he goes to school after this situation, and everyone's, praying a prayer for him and that he rests in peace. He starts to try to talk to people in the class. They ignore him. They treat him like he's not there. He is invisible to them. So after that situation, he goes outside and the bell rang, period. He's trying to call somebody, can't reach them. He sees the other guy in his class, totally, and he ignores him. He says, I'm sorry. Everyone in the fucking class is ignoring him like he's not. So, after this development, he's like really depressed. He sees a note in his desk when he goes back to class. And we don't see what it is. We don't see what it is. So from there, he leaves. And he goes to the dollhouse place where Masaki really is. And in it, he opens it. And guess what's in there? It's a letter from one of his classmates. Here's the roster. Give it to Masaki. She'll know what it means. Masaki's name is crossed out. So, Masaki and Koichi then in the dollhouse area, where the dolls are and stuff, they go upstairs to her house to have a conversation. And she decides to him, it's a special case, so I'll allow you to ask me these questions. And he asks, is Masaki real? And so she asks, do I look like a ghost? And from there, she explains the whole business. Basically, 26 years ago, started this curse where there was always this extra person in grade 9, class 3. And this extra person, every time there was an extra person, each month from there on, starting in, I believe, May, a person would die. Each month. It's a student or it's a family member, doesn't matter. And that's basically what she was saying. So now, in order to, and they tried everything to undo this curse. They tried changing the name, going to a different classroom, changing the name of a class. So in order to counteract it, one student is ignored and doesn't exist. So that there is no extra person in the class. And that is the story. And that's more or less how the episode ends. Here's what's wrong with this. This is what I find really ridiculous. He's still there, and here's the thing. I think it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. I mean, just because, and it wasn't like it's their fault. The students in that classroom, they should have told him about the curse, about the whole thing in the beginning when he first appeared. They never did. It is like in all respects, it is like, holy shit, what the fuck? They're treating him like he's not there. It's so fucked up. It's like, oh, he doesn't exist. He's right there. But they're saying he's not there. And she goes on. She goes on record. Remember, Gazawa. She went beforehand and says, "This is for the good of the class. Please forgive us." And I will tell you right now, if I was in that classroom, I would get up and I would scream at all those people, "Go fuck yourselves," and I would leave. And I would leave that school because this is ridiculous. So him not being there, them making believe he's not there. And supposedly the story, another story is that the extra student is already dead. There's a person in that class that is already dead, and they're attending classes. It is really creepy. Really fucking creepy. But what a creepy show. I'm going to scream if I find out the reasoning these people are dying is that he's doing it himself, Koichi. But I don't think that is. I think there's a curse here, and it's just ridiculous. This show is ridiculous. I have nothing more to add but ridiculous. It's like the moment a student starts talking about this Mei Masaki, they die. That guy has a heart attack. You fucking kidding me? The outrageousness of this show is beyond comparison. Beyond. You know what this reminds me of? And I don't want to talk about some other kind of thing. But any of you guys see any of those Final Destination movies? That's how bizarre this is. That's how bizarre. That's what it's like. It's like death follows you around. And you can't. It's like the moment somebody starts talking about the curse, you die. Unbelievable. But what did you guys think about this episode? 5 of Another. Personally, I'm regretting reviewing this show. I'm regretting it. I am so regretting it. So. But, nevertheless, that's the story. This has been episode 5 review of Another and SpawnCon 922. God knows what. If this was like this, what is fucking Guilty Crown going to be like tomorrow? It's going to be probably balls and walls. It's been BonCon 922. And if I were to give this episode a rating, bizarreness, give it a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, come on. So, see you guys later.